You don't want your sellers waiting till January to sign up with you. Because what's going to happen is in that time,
You don't want to end up becoming the 9-month agent. And the 9-month agent is the one that takes the foot off the pedal in November. They see December as, well, we're at the end of the year. And then often they think, oh, there's no one around in January. We really kick off after Australia Day.
there's nothing worse than going into Christmas, right? Where you're supposed to be winding down, enjoying family time, having a break, but not having any business set up for January, February. What would you be focusing on if you were an agent right now?
Well, one of the things that I'd be focusing on is I would be making sure for 2026 is
Agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your number one destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run, and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals, and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies, and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. Welcome back to Get Keen, ladies and gentlemen. Agents, you're here because you want to improve your real estate career. And I interview only the best agents, the best business owners, and the best coaches in real estate too. And do I have the number one real estate agent coach in Australia with us today? Yes, I do. For the second, maybe third time, it's Mr. Tom Panos. Thanks for joining me, mate.
Thank you, Dan. I think it is the third time.
It is the third time.
Yes.
Yes. Both the last two, I got great feedback. Lots of over 2,500 agents listened to your last one, if you want to know.
That's a good number. And I've got to say, generally speaking, I reckon those 2,500 are good agents because I think good agents are into training and I think bad agents are not. So those 2.5 are probably good people.
Yeah, 100%. You know, when I think back into my earlier days of real estate, when I listened to a lot of real estate content, you know, every single day I would listen to real estate CDs, conversations in my car driving around. Geez, that shows my age a bit, listening to CDs. But I learned so much about, you know, how to do listing presentations, how to do cold calls, what scripts to use when I'm knocking on someone's door, you know, and that was the beginning. And as time goes on, you find that different content that relates to the position that you're in. And I just think it's so valuable. These days, we're so lucky that, you know, there's just an unlimited amount of content out there.
I was in the era before CDs, right? And there were tapes, right? And I've got to say, I still remember the only way I had real estate information when I was 20 years of age was buying the tape set, How to Master the Art of Selling Anything by a guy called Tom Hopkins. Then the only other training I had was to go to a training course that was set up by a person that I don't even like their methodology. They don't like auctions and all of that. And there was nothing. But now, and it has been for a few years, Dan, like there's probably an oversaturation of the amount of content out there. We were just talking about off camera, the amount of video interviews of real estate agents, the amount of podcasts, audible.com, Blink, all these things that there's no excuse for not having access to information.
I know. We're spoiled for choice. It's almost like there's too much. So that's why I try to provide the best content, not fluff around with average stuff. I only get the best people on. And, you know, that's why I love having you here, because people love listening to your stuff. You're always staying relevant. You interview and you work closely with very high performers, and not just high performers, but agents that are growing and want to perform better. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly in real estate. You see the faults that agents make. You see the difference between the great agents and the average agents, and you're really able to dissect that well. So I thought we'd use this time because it's November now, and it's a very important part of the year for agents. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. To me, in my own life, November is my most important month of the year. November. It's not December.
For you.
for me. And the reason why is, Dan, that what I do in November pretty much influences everything from January to Easter, right?
And that's the same for a real estate agent, really, right? And I've been an agent. I was an agent for 16 years, and I've made some mistakes whilst I was an agent. One of those mistakes was, taking my foot off the pedal around about this time. It's kind of like the Melbourne Cup was almost the start of the silly season.
Yeah.
For those overseas, Melbourne Cup is a famous horse race here in Australia. And from here on till Christmas, there's lots of opportunities to get distracted, isn't there?
100%, because the sun is out in Australia for your overseas listeners. The sun is out here. Christmas and summer go hand in hand. As we say, sun's out, guns out, life's good. And because all of that, you've got Christmas parties, you've got shopping, you've got the beach, you've got outdoor stuff, and you've got, as you indicated, this feeling that come Melbourne Cup, we're entering the holiday season, the Christmas party season. And Dan, we spoke about it at the training course today. You don't want to end up becoming the 9-month agent. And the 9-month agent is the one that takes the foot off the pedal in November. They see December as, well, we're at the end of the year. And then often they think, oh, there's no one around in January. We really kick off, after Australia Day. And we are talking a lot about the Victorians because they've got this thing about, we got the Australian Open in tennis. That takes up a lot of January here. And then after Australia Day, we begin campaigns. Now, if you've got that sort of line of thinking, it's really easy to end up working 9.5 months instead of working 11 months or 11.5 months. Yeah.
It's a big hole, and it makes a big difference in your average for the year. And if you don't set up a strong first quarter, you fail the rest of your year, in my opinion, right?
So Rupert Murdoch used to say, he worked financial years. He says, if you don't have July, August, September nailed, you're always on the back foot.
Yeah.
So when we convert this to real estate, if you stuff up Jan, Feb, March, the whole time you're on the back foot.
Yeah, it's so true. And, the other thing, there's nothing worse than going into Christmas, right, where you're supposed to be winding down, enjoying family time, having a break, right, but not having any business set up for January, February. That just gives you anxiety, You can't enjoy time off when there's nothing to come back and work for, and all you're coming back to is struggle.
Yeah.
Right?
It'd be a bit like my HSC's coming up. I know I haven't studied high school certificate for those that don't relate to a HSC. Like you got your final year 12 exams. I'm not prepared. So even though you're relaxing, you're celebrating, you're partying, the bottom line is at the back of your head, you know that you're coming back on the 12th of January, if that's the date you're coming back. You're going to come back 2 kilos heavier, belt tied around your stomach, tired, probably partied a bit. But the depressing bit is you're going to be sitting there and say, where do I start? I don't have any listings because I left work middle of November thinking it's the end of the year.
Yeah, that's the worst. And I've done that. I've done that for a couple of years in my earlier years, and I made a commitment to never do that again in my later years of real estate. I always would focus on setting up January and February really well by getting people signed up with me prior to Christmas. And so I wanted to talk about some of the things that agents can do and the strategies that they can use to get not only find the opportunities, but to get potential vendors to commit to them prior to the new year. Because if you can come into the new year with at least 4 listings under the belt, signed up, ready to go, you're going to have a great Christmas period, and then you're starting really strong in the new year. And there's nothing better as a real estate agent than starting the year strong. Okay.
So you have 2 choices as an agent in January. You're either a rocket that needs a lot of power and energy to get up in the air, And that's hard because you've got no momentum, or you're an agent that has done what you've said, and that is you parked your car on the top of the hill when you left the office around the 20th of December, and you come back and you let go of the handbrake, and the momentum of the car takes you like a rocket. It's got momentum. Once it's up, it's fine. So I suggest that one of the strategies that you should do, and as people are listening to this podcast or watching it now, Dan, we're close to the end of this year, right? So I've got to say, number one, use the realestate.com data that Boxing Day and that festive period has a lot of eyeballs. I get it. Buyers aren't at opens, but they're scrolling. So use the ethical bribe to a vendor and say to them, listen, we have two choices. We do nothing now, come on the market when all the other vendors come onto the market, but we don't want to come on the market when all the other vendors want to come on the market. We want to come back onto the market when there's buyers looking at stuff. And we clearly know that there are people looking over that holiday period because they have time. So set yourself a goal that you will leave your office with X amount of listings signed up. I reckon that's an important strategy to do before you leave this year.
Yeah, you've got to have a goal for January. How many listings do you want to have in January?
Yeah.
When you come back, set that goal now. And then just make that a reality, right? And you might have some sellers that you think, oh yeah, they're going to come to me in January. They've already said, that call me back in January. We're going to list then. Get them signed up now. You got to get them signed up now. And the strategy that you just mentioned was to help them to understand that everyone wants to come back on the market late January. All the sellers now thinking, I'm going to sell in the new year. They're thinking, well, after my holiday and when the buyers come back, which is late January. But what happens? Everyone lists at the same time at the end of January. So if you're listing at the same time as everyone in January, then there's going to be less competition per house because there's more houses on the market. So you can say to those potential vendors, hey, I've got a strategy that works every time. I do this every year for people that want to list around this time. Let's get your property on the market prior to the new year. We won't have that many inspections in that period because there's people away, you're away, I'm away, but it's actually the time when the most people are on realestate.com looking. So people are viewing the property, and it all starts with views. If people are viewing the property, then over the next few weeks, the phone calls start happening, the inspections, we start gathering all of the data for the inspections, and then we come back first, second week in January with monster inspections with all of these people that have come back, and there's no other houses on the market. What happens to your property? We have all the buyers at your property. They're not looking at anything else. We drive up the competition. Competition is what gets you the highest price because I'm going to get more offers on your property. So that's the strategy.
It is. And I actually give it a label. It's called List in 25, Launch in 26. List now, launch later, right? That's the strategy. And it is the safest thing for a vendor because I got to tell you, there's a lot of people, Dan, in the buyer mode over that holiday period that make emotional decisions. You know what it's like when you have a line in the sand. People set New Year resolutions. I want to buy a property. I want to buy investment. And particularly now that we've got the 5% deposit scheme there, which means that the audience of those buyers gets even bigger, right? I do know that we've had a lot of vendors that have been saying, but let's not do nothing. Let's ride the wave till rates really keep dropping because then we'll even get more money for our houses. But that strategy doesn't look like it's going to work too good now either because the tone of rates dropping has changed as well in recent weeks.
Absolutely. We might not be getting a rate drop till mid-year, right? So going back to that strategy as well, to get it on the market earlier, you don't want your sellers waiting till January to sign up with you, right? Because what's going to happen is in that time, they talk to other people about, oh, we're selling, and someone might say, oh, which agent are you using? Oh, you've got to use this one because, they'll get people in their ear will,
Correct.
Sway them away from you potentially. Or, they get a call from an agent in that time that says, just happens to catch them. They're like, oh, yeah, sorry, we've already got an agent. We're coming on in the new year. And they say, oh, we've got a buyer. Can we just bring them through quickly?
Correct.
They're going to pay above the odds. And they say, oh, well, if you've got a buyer, bring them through. All of a sudden, you've lost that vendor.
Correct.
They've signed up on a 1-week exclusive and taken an offer off market, which in this market happens all the time.
Correct.
Because there are buyers. The market is hot. The buyers are desperate when the market is hot because they're sick of missing out at the open homes. They're going to open homes. There's 20, 30 people. There's 5 offers. They miss out. They're desperate. They'll happily buy something off market for a great price. And then you'll have that guaranteed listing in quotation marks that you thought was coming on in January. You're waiting a few months to get the form signed, thinking it's in the bag.
Yeah.
All of a sudden you call back in January like, oh, I'm so sorry, Dan. I hate to tell you, but we sold it. No hard feelings. And you're like, yeah, no hard feelings. Fuck.
Yeah.
Right?
And that is spot on. And don't get me wrong. I know that for selfish reasons in the real estate industry, we want to get control because, as they say, until you have a Form 6 or agency agreement signed, it means nothing. But I actually think there's a bigger reason you should be doing it. And that is I truly believe you can get top dollar on properties early in January because there's no other stock. It's like it's anything in life, any product or service is pretty much demand supply driven.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the content. Just quickly, if you're interested in knowing what it might look like for you to own your own real estate business and brand, then that's what me and my team do. We help agents to create, run, and grow their own agency and brand so they can earn higher commissions and set up a better life for themselves. If you're interested in what that might look like, just click the link in the show notes and book a call with me or one of my team members, and we'll find out whether or not this is a good fit for you. Now let's get back to the episode. Without a doubt, and that your vendor got swindled in a way. It's not swindled as in they got talked into taking a price they didn't want, but they got talked into taking a price off market, which we know in most vendors' case, if they know that they could definitely know that they would get a better price by going to market and displaying their property to the entire market of buyers, that they would get a better price.
Yeah.
However, they got talked into taking this early offer from the agent, and then you missed out. You missed out on the work, and they missed out on getting a better price because they didn't follow the full process.
Spot on.
Right?
So we're all agreeing that one key thing you got to be doing this time of the year, set a goal, list now, launch later, go away with stock signed up. But I do think that there's other things, Dan, that you should also be doing, which we're going to, talk about. There's so many things you can be doing right now that does not mean like, oh, it's Christmas, there's nothing to do.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some of those things. What would you be doing if you were an agent right now? There's 6 weeks to go, 6 hard weeks left. What would you be focusing on if you were an agent right now?
Well, one of the things that I'd be focusing on is what we did today, which we basically went through 2 booklets, business plans, a couple of 100 pages each. I would be making sure my plan for 2026 is completed in 2025. So I'll 100% be doing the business plan. Another thing I would be doing right now is breaking bread, voice to voice, eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly, red bottle of wine, 50 VIP clients, maybe 100, personally go knock on their door and say, thank you. You mean a lot to me. All the best this festive season, right? I reckon that's a good thing to do, right? I think another good thing to be doing is making sure that you've got a heap of vendors that haven't sold and it's end of 2025, they want closure, right? I would be doing my best to get more deals done. The next thing I would be doing is going through my database and going through what I call the November, December summary calls. So these are people that you're not physically visiting with the wine, but there's hundreds of them. Hi, Dan, Tom Panos here from Plum Partners. This is a time of year I like to ring up my clients and give them a 3-minute summary. What happened in 2025 in West End? And I want to let you know what we think is going to happen in early 2026. And in that conversation, Dan, what's actually happening is that you're also working out, are they coming on the market? Because you can easily say is, what are your real estate plans for 2026? So you could be doing that. In addition to that, I think this is the time of year you get brain, body fit, because it's easy to get a little bit sluggish with food consumption, booze consumption.
Oh, for sure. There's so many things that you're going to be invited to end of year, and there's lots of companies, they want to invite you to their special Christmas party. There's lots of parties going on. It's very easy to get unhealthy at the end of the year, right? So I think some really great tips. Before I want to talk about health a bit, but maybe we'll do that in the last 5 minutes. But I want to touch on what you just said about that red wine, that personal touch, because as agents, we're so hungry for the deal, right? Catch and kill a lot of the time. Deals fall in our lap. We do it. We do a good job. We love the clients. We have a great experience. And thank you very much. Can I have a testimonial? See you later. And we might touch base with them once every 2 years or something. So many of those sellers, if you keep a very close personal touch with them, dropping around that bottle of red wine to a client that had a great experience with you a year later, and putting yourself top of mind, that could be a $20,000 referral that they give you in 2 months for doing something like that. Imagine if you drop around 100 red bottles of wine to 100 clients. Now that's 2 days' work, but that is some of the best prospecting you could do, right?
So, Dan, you got to do that because everyone's sending the price updates now. Everyone's sending the mass SMS, there. You're not standing out. You got to do the thing that the others aren't doing because it's more difficult to do.
As we enter this really digital age now, right? We're already so digital, right? People are sending around e-cards. Oh, here's my e-Christmas cards, just this same card to everyone. Like, that's not personal. It doesn't mean anything. No one's going to look at that and go, oh, wow, that's so lovely of him.
I'm on their database.
Yeah.
That's all I think.
I just feel like I'm just a number, right? But when you go and do that personal touch and you get face-to-face and you actually have a conversation, that stuff's priceless.
And I bet you, Dan, they'll be happy. Not the person receiving it. It's helper's high. The giver gets more out of it than the receiver, because most people that I know that are good people love doing things to make other people happy.
Yeah, you feel good. That's just 2 great days of work if you went and handed out 100 bottles of wine to your 100 best clients. Guarantee there's business in that, right?
Yes.
Should do it. Let's talk about health and not getting distracted from these things, because coming up to this end of year, you're going to be invited to a lot of parties. I just reckon drinking is the worst thing you can do in this next 6 weeks, right?
It is, because if you do, what happens, it affects the stuff we're speaking about you've got to do. Example, like it's the day, this is being recorded the day after Melbourne Cup, right? And I went to a function as well. And I was mindful, I'm going to wake up early to get onto the flight to come from Sydney, because I've just come to Plum Partners, to Brisbane just for Plum Partners. And there's no way in the world, I don't care what anyone says, it annoys you, it pisses you off when you've drunk, even if it's 3 glasses of red wine, because deep down you're not as sharp. Yeah. Deep down you're not at your best. And what annoys you is that the next guy or girl, your competitor, they got that little bit of advantage of you. You can't do those things. So I agree 100%. Listen, I'm not saying just become a recluse, but you don't have to go to everything, and you don't have to drink at everything, and you don't have to drink more than 2 to 3 drinks at everything.
Absolutely. I actually think drinking sucks. I used to drink all the time. Like every event that I was invited to, every dinner I went to, any lunch that I went to, I would always have a drink. And I gave it up about 2.5 years ago, changed my life. Right? Absolutely. I drink about 4 times a year now on very special occasions. And one thing that I do is one thing that helped me, especially in the beginning. It's easy for me now because I've been doing it for a while. But those first few months when you're used to drinking, the first few months are quite difficult. Like, it's actually crazy that people go, I'm doing dry July, no alcohol for a month. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's actually a big deal. That's concerning. 1 month without alcohol is not a big deal. You don't even realize it when you're a normal drinker that you actually end up drinking about 15 times a month just as a regular person. You're not consider yourself an alcoholic, but you actually do it quite a lot. And then you try and have a month off and you go, oh my God, it's so hard, right? But just think about this. When you drink for that little buzz, right, you are borrowing your energy from tomorrow, right?
I like that.
You are borrowing tomorrow's energy and giving it to you now for that 20-minute to 1 hour buzz that you're going to get. And you go, well, I'm in the moment now. I'm going to have these drinks, right? Tomorrow, you are going to suffer from it. If it's 1 drink, you'll suffer 1 drink tomorrow. If you have 3 drinks now, you'll suffer 3 drinks of energy tomorrow. And each drink is another level of suffer for tomorrow. So you are taking tomorrow's pleasure of a nice, healthy day. You are taking that and you are giving yourself a fast moment of pleasure now for a rotten day tomorrow, right?
You couldn't have said it. You couldn't have said it any better.
Borrowing tomorrow's time.
You couldn't have said it any better because most of the people in real estate hate losing stuff. And then if you start associating there's a loss here. There's a serious loss that I'm affected. And it just annoys me, Dan, that myself, when I do it, I just know I'm not as sharp and I know it could be better. And I know I'm not at my A game. I might be at my B+ game. But I know because of that stupid thing for 2 hours, I'm not at my A+ game.
For sure. And everything's harder the next day, even on 2 drinks. I gym in the morning because that's the only time I can do it with the family. So I'm up at 4:30. I'm at the gym by 5:15, 6 days a week, right? If I had 3 drinks the night before, I'd skip it. I'd 100%. Even though I'm not waking up, like, I wouldn't consider myself hungover. But those 3 drinks are enough to make me hit the snooze button and go, fuck it, I'm not doing it.
I reckon if you're watching this, be the subject and the scientist. Give it a test run for a quarter and make up your decision by you being both the subject, being the experiment in it, and then make up your mind. If it hasn't made a difference, go off, start drinking a 6-pack every night again.
Yeah. I think in general, real estate agents drink too much. I just know because I've hung around them a long time. I was one myself. I interview a lot of them. Most of the people I interview don't drink. They're high performers, and they've already discovered that this is no good. But I would say a lot of low to average performers or people new in the industry, they drink too much. And one of my I don't have many regrets in life, but one of my regrets in life is in my 20s and in my 30s, I drank too much. That is a regret that I have. And, but in a way, I guess I'm glad I did it because now I can pass down to those others that want to be really high performers, my knowledge of what it did to me.
Yeah.
Right. And I wasn't someone that needed to go to rehab. I wasn't someone that you would even consider having a drinking problem. I was just pretty much an everyday Australian.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, if I drank if my habits were in my 20s what they are now, I would be way further ahead.
Well, you don't have to walk that path. Someone's walked that path for you. He's done it, so you don't have to.
Absolutely. So what else can agents do to make sure they set up their year correctly?
I think what you should do is, in light of the fact that a lot of the people aren't around early January in terms of suppliers, all the people that we work with in real estate, including conveyancers, people that do our brochures and all that, set up all your marketing, set and forget activities before you go away.
And that's a really good thing that you can say to your sellers, again, we're trying to find ways to get them to sign up with us now, right? And a lot of sellers don't like signing forms until they're ready to go, right? They just feel like, why should I? What's the point in signing a form 3 months before we're going to list our home on the market? Well, that's a really good one, right? You can say to a seller, hey, I know we're listing in late Jan or mid-Jan, but here's the thing. So is everyone else. And there's some things that are out of our control, okay? I can control, the date that we want to list. I can control what I want the photos to look like, what I want it to look like. But I can't control whether or not the signboard company can deliver your sign on this particular day, right? I can't control getting my favorite photographer here if they're booked out. And this sort of stuff always tends to happen in January, right? Because everyone's listing at the same time. Now, we need to furnish your home. We need to get my favorite photographer who only does 4 photo shoots a day. We need my favorite videographer who only does maximum 2 videos a day. I need to get them booked in now. Okay, if I don't get them booked in now and then we come back in January and I'm trying to rush to get I'm going to miss out. And I'm going to have to scramble to find the videographer, scramble to find the right photographer. I'm not going to have it set up the way that I want to have it. So let's get the paperwork out of the way now. We'll get things booked in. If any dates change, that's fine. You just let me know. I'll handle that. But I want to make sure this process is smooth, that everything's done perfect. We've only got one shot at this, and I want to get you maximum price. And it's really important that I get these things booked in. Would it be okay for me to start organizing these things now? Okay. Obviously, a lot of them are going to agree to that. Fantastic. That's sort of like your shoe in to get the form signed. Great. I just need a commitment on this paperwork. Obviously, it's just company. I can't go and book things in if we don't have it. Can we just get this out of the way?
But people get it. People get it. Dan, when you go and get some work done on your property, people know, I've got to lock in the tradesperson. It's not like I ring them today, I want it done today. People understand the concept of preparation. People know that they book in advance to book their holidays because the ticket's going to be much cheaper if they do it 3 months before. People get all that sort of stuff. What I think's got to happen is agents have to let go of the excuse, I don't have to do it now because no one's doing anything. That's not true. There's a very good chance there's a competitor about 30 meters away from you in your suburb that's doing this right now. Do you feel comfortable that they're talking to your client?
Absolutely. You could also, encourage people with discounts on advertising, possibly something along the lines of, look, this is our standard advertising package. If you sign up with us before Christmas, it's actually 10% off the cost, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And the reason we do this is because if we can schedule everything in earlier for you, it's easier for our company to do that other than rushing around at the same time when everyone else was doing
Spot on.
Doing things like, so you're giving them a reason that it helps our business perform better. That's why you're getting this discount if we sign up early. So a number of different strategies that you can use to get your future vendors signed up before the end of the year so that you can come into the new year, with momentum. And momentum is really, really important in real estate. So I think that's all we've got time for, Tom.
But Dan, it's been great. Congratulations this year on your podcast.
Thank you.
People that are listening to it, it's been transformational and the engagement's been very, very high. And it's a good chance, like for you. Like one thing that I do this time of the year is I reflect what worked for me, what didn't, what do I do more of, what do I do less of, what do I need to stop doing, what do I need to start doing? It's a good time to reflect.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do more of, what I'm going to do less of, what am I going to stop doing, what am I going to start doing, and some simple questions to yourself are going to help you shape 2026.
2026 is going to be a big year for a lot of real estate agents. I think the market is going to be pretty steady, pretty strong, and this is the time to set it up, right? So, guys, thank you for tuning in. It's always a pleasure to have Tom here. He's a great dude. He's a really, really good coach. I really enjoy speaking with you. I think you're just a really genuine person. You're not if you don't know Tom and you just watch his reels on social media, or you've just seen him on stage, he's quite loud. He's he's a good presenter. He's very in your face, extrovert. But when I meet you, talk to you behind closed doors, you're just a really good, genuine dude that cares about people, and that's why I like working with you. And I think people know that when they start.
I love working with you too.
Thanks for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode got you thinking about starting your own real estate business and building your own brand, Plum Partners may be able to help. Book a call using the link in the show notes, and let's see if we're the right fit to help you create, run, and grow your own real estate brand. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and follow me on Instagram at Dan_Lee_Plum. Until next time, keep getting keen.